Hello all and welcome to Movie Bears Podcast TV. I'm Brad Harris, and every couple of weeks I get together with some of my most favoritist, awesomest guys on the face of the planet to talk about something near and dear to our hearts, of course that being TV, because we're couch potatoes, and we somehow lead adult lives. I don't know how we do it, but we do. Somehow.
It's not very easy.
Right?
Some of us live adult lives.
Well, you're hearing from them already. Let me introduce you to my wonderful co-host. Casey Scott is here with us. Welcome, Casey.
Hello. Did you just say Gacy?
I said Casey, but if the glass slipper
That's a
said,
totally different guy.
I was like, listen, I had to work long and hard to get away from that nickname. No, I'm kidding. I wear that with a badge of pride. Yeah.
well, I said Casey with a so I'm just saying.
No, I like Gacy. That works. Yeah.
As long as there's not a John Wayne in front of it.
Yeah, exactly.
Definitely. Please, none of that.
Oh, goodness. And Stephen Heslin is here with us as well. Welcome, Stephen.
Hello, everyone. Good to be here with everyone.
And it is like totally, as Casey Scott just said before we started recording, kind of like sweeps weeks on MBP TV this week. We have a couple of very special guests with us. You may recognize them from the Movie Bears podcast. Jim Pugliafico is here. Welcome, Jim.
Thank you, and it's a privilege to be back. I can't remember the last time I was on with you guys, and
I think it was one of the last Survivor discussions.
It might have been 2 seasons.
No,
ago.
it was a Mad Men finale because I just re-listened to that episode.
There you go. There you go.
I'm excited. Guys.
Well, welcome back, Jim, and of course, our other super mega Survivor fan is here as well. Will Lindis, welcome to MBP TV. Hello.
Hey guys, thanks for having me back. I'm looking forward to this.
Awesome, awesome. You know, I gotta say, as I'm like reading off all the names of who's here tonight, I totally feel like I'm like Daenerys, Stormborn, Targaryen, the Unburnt, Mother of Dragons, like with 50 different titles, or maybe Debbie from Survivor. Like,
Debbie from Survivor is right.
right?
Yeah, exactly.
Wait. So is Debbie from Survivor the Mother of Dragons? Did she do that in a previous life?
I'm sure that's one of the jobs on her resume. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it had like hashtag Mother of Dragons, like totally.
Right.
Anyway. Well, guys, we have a big show for you this week. We are going to be talking about the latest episode and most heartbreakingest episode of Game of Thrones. We'll also be dishing on the finale of Survivor Korong, and maybe chatting briefly a little bit about this new Preacher show on AMC. Is it worth checking out? Is it worth your time? I don't know. We'll get to that. But guys, we have so much to frickin' discuss. Are we ready?
Yes.
Are we set?
Yes. Let's jumpstart this.
Yes.
Let the door fly open.
Let's burn this mother down. Yeah.
All right. So here's what I'm going to say before we launch into our shows. This is our trademark spoiler plate warning. We are going to be spoiling the plot of all of these shows. So Game of Thrones, Survivor, and Preacher. So if you haven't seen them, feel free to step away as appropriate when we get to that segment. If you're listening on digital tape delay, you can refer to our handy-dandy show notes / time index to figure out where to jump around as needed. But here we go, our discussion of Game of Thrones. All right, so
You two and your nodding heads.
I know, like Stephen and I, we're always listening to the theme song in our heads.
It seriously, it always plays as soon as you say Game of Thrones.
Like, yeah, if you're watching on YouTube and you watch our little thumbnail pictures, our heads are like swaying, like exactly in tune. It's amazing.
Yes. I never join in. I'm always late to the party. I'm sorry, guys.
That's all right. That's okay.
As long as you get there.
That's all that counts, right? Well, Steven, why don't you kick us off a little bit here? Maybe talk about some of the bigger plot points, what you think about them. What do you think?
Sure. So from the last time we talked, we've seen episode 4 and 5, and when I was looking at that, I was like, God, we're already halfway through this season if they're doing a 10 episode, which I believe they are. And that kind of sucks. But episode 4... there was of course there's always lots of stuff that happens. And I love every episode. I mean, even the slower episodes, I enjoy the scenes. It's just that there's not much to talk about plot-wise except for the finale of the episode 4, which was which was the Mother of Dragons basically claiming the Dothraki by burning all of the leaders and walking out through the fire, which caused a ton of controversy, which at first I didn't really get, and then I was reading all the it was all the book heads that were just like, no, she's not impervious to fire. It was just that one time, and we totally don't get it. Oh my God, it totally jumped the shark.
Impersonation. That's exactly what they sound like.
Yeah. Which I get, but at the same time, I think if you're watching this, the show Game of Thrones, the TV, there are always deviations on TV versions, so I think you kind of have to forgive it. And it was kind of badass, so right. I loved it. And of course, though, you saw more boobies. So the boobie to penis ratio is way outweighed right now.
Yeah.
We will get to in the next episode. Which, leads us to the next episode, which there was lots of stuff that happened in episode 5. It was like a mid-season finale episode because you learned where the White Walkers came from, which were those little pixie people.
Children of the forest.
The what?
The children of the forest.
Yeah, children of the forest. That's
like in Fern Gully.
Yes.
I call them the wood nymphs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah.
Basically like that.
The wood
but yeah.
Right.
But it was there was you got to see what's her the girl has no name.
Arya.
Arya.
I mean, the girl who has no name.
Yeah. You got to see her, like, they're setting her up to make, grooming her to make another kill, and she has to watch this play of her family, which was hilarious.
Which I loved, yeah.
Yeah. I was catching up, and I watched the Game of Thrones recap, which is so amazingly brilliant. And they called it the Adam Sandler version of her life. When they played it like that, with Adam Sandler going "Doo-ba-doo-ba-doo" over the actual video, it actually fit perfectly.
That's good.
Yeah. It even ended with farts, so.
Wow. Exactly. Yes, very Sandler-esque.
Yeah, and then they just cut to a shot of a young guy holding his penis, saying, like, I've got 2 warts, and it's like, really? You're going to show perfect breasts in the episode before, and then you're going to show this weird dick with warts on it. Like, that's the dick we get?
Well, those breasts weren't perfect. They were kind of on fire.
They were on fire. But they were shrouded in fire.
Yeah.
They were Carrie boobs.
They were pretty hot.
Yeah.
They were pretty
nice. Well.
But then we get into sort of Bran, seeing things in the past, and he tries to sneak off and look in the past on his own, and of course he gets touched by the Ice King or whatever, and which gives away his location, and now he's got his mark on him, which means they can penetrate the hole. You know what I'm saying? And which forces them to evacuate, and Bran can't wake up from his vision, and so he's watching young Hodor, and then they're having to escape. And there's this weird time paradox thing where
The Walking Dead happens.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Somebody referenced, did they actually at one point didn't they say they called them walkers?
Yeah, Jon Snow. He's like they're laying out their battle plan or whatever, and he's like, "Well, the walkers are coming from the north."
Yeah,
it's like Jesus Christ.
I know.
I want to remind you of the other Sunday night show that's not on
exactly.
right now. Synchronicity.
But yeah, and even they kill them sort of like they do zombies. They have to stab them through the head, Although they did kill them with a spear in the heart. Anyway.
Well, the spear had the dragon glass, which is what
true.
makes them blow up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you get to this scene where you finally sort of realize why Hodor only says Hodor, and that's not his actual name, it's his destiny, which is he has to hold the door with all the zombies sort of coming at, or White Walkers coming at them, and they're running away saying, hold the door, and he gets, in his past, he flips out and is saying, hold the door, 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 hold the door.
Right.
And that becomes
That was
the only
really great, Stephen. I really loved your reenactment of that.
But it was one of the saddest moments I have seen on TV. I was crying. It
Oh my
was
gosh.
so. I just thought it was. I mean, I don't know why that character isn't that strong in the show, but you just have this affection for him, and it just, seeing how it, like, how he was made and everything, you got this, backstory to him in that moment, and then seeing him get torn apart, it was very, very sad. But that was sort of the epic ending of that, and there was just like a whole zombie battle. I mean, there was just tons of action. I thought it was very well done.
We lost another dire wolf.
Yes.
Another bad year for direwolves.
Yeah,
Seriously.
only two left, and
Yeah.
one we don't know where that is.
That was just about as sad as losing Hodor.
Oh
I
yeah,
know,
no,
right?
my
I'm
mom
like,
was
oh my god,
inconsolable.
don't! No.
Right. She's like, no.
Don't have time to process this.
Oh,
Right.
So,
It was all too much.
Steven, you said this was super sad for you. Jim, what about for you as our resident big boy on Game of Thrones, aside
Yeah.
from Sam? Was this sad for you?
It was. I mean, I think everybody had a soft spot for Hodor, right? I mean, he's the good-hearted, loyal servant of the Starks and particularly of Bran. And I think that, yes, okay, I'm a chaser, but that isn't why. That isn't. I mean, I just like the character, even though we really didn't see a lot of him in the last 2-3 seasons. Seems like they brought him back this season just to kill him off, basically. Yeah, I guess I had maybe assumed, given the way the show operates, that we would see the death of Hodor at some point, because I think almost everybody we care for is going to die at some point on the show. So, yeah, I struggle a little bit with the temporal aspects of what's going on. I'm not sure how to wrap my head around it. I really didn't expect to be dealing with Doctor Who-isms in Game of Thrones, but that's kind of what we got, and so be it, I guess. We got Doctor Who and Walking Dead on the same episode. But
Yeah.
They're trying to
I think
reach
the
all
writers
all
are getting
fan
lazy.
groups. Right.
yeah, but I guess Hodor is I guess I don't know what happened. I guess Bran was able to go back in time and somehow get into the consciousness of young Willis and make him and turn him into Hodor for the express purpose of saving him at a later time, which is very fucking selfish. But
Yeah.
Well,
Exactly.
I don't think it was. I don't think it was on purpose, though.
No.
I think Bran still doesn't know how to use his powers, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around exactly what happened. So my take on it is, and I may be totally wrong, and the book readers don't even know at this point, so book readers can't be like, well, Brad, you're so dumb because how it actually works is blah, blah, blah.
Well, they still may say that, but they don't have a right
Well,
to.
maybe. They probably sound like that, too. But so my thinking is, so Bran went back into the past with the Three-Eyed Raven. The Three-Eyed Raven is dead or whatever. Bran can't control his powers. And Mira is yelling at Bran that they need Hodor. But Bran can't wake up or something, right? So he tries maybe to warg into present day Hodor, and it seems like it works for a second because Hodor snaps to action, but then Willis in the past suddenly gets warg milk eye thing going on, and then he's becoming affected, and it's almost like Bran has created some kind of psychic bridge, I guess, between present-day Hodor and Willis, and so the sound is going back and forth, and it overloads Willis's mind, maybe, and that's why he goes into that fit. I don't think it was intentional, though. I think Bran is just a stupid kid who thinks he knows best when he really doesn't.
Yeah, but he did it once before, right? At Craster's Keep, didn't he warg into Hodor's consciousness to to have him
Totally.
protect him from the attack.
But
he's done it twice.
The time travel stuff, right? Like
Yeah.
that was before the
Right.
Three-Eyed Raven stuff.
Yeah.
Right. So that was when he was in the present day warging into present day Hodor.
But he's used Hodor before, is what I'm saying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think he tried
And
to
not
do
for
it
sex,
here.
which I don't get.
Whoa, he's a little young. But here, his body's in the present while his mind is in the past. He's trying to warg into the present Hodor, but his mind also makes a connection to Willis in the past, and it's just one big wibbly wobbly timey wimey fuck up of Bran.
Yeah.
But you know what? Without that fuck up, we wouldn't have had Hodor at all.
Right.
So it's a predestination paradox.
Right.
Mhm.
But that's
Yeah.
the thing. Like Bran basically destroyed Hodor's life and made him basically
And killed him.
and killed him essentially. So yeah.
Hodor.
Yeah.
Hodor.
Yeah, Bran basically went back, ruined this kid's life, made him like incapacitated and incapable of speaking except for one word, and then that whole purpose was to save him in one moment that he needed to be saved, and then it's over. And so
we needed another reason not to like Bran, right?
right, that's what a girlfriend of mine said. She's like, "Oh, I needed another reason to hate this stupid kid," and I was like, "I know, right?" Like,
Oh man.
that's essentially what it amounts to, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh gosh.
The least important Stark, I would even give Rick on the edge. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. But I mean, the mechanics of it aside, I guess we just gotta kind of embrace what happened. I mean, it was very well done. If we don't try to think about it too much, and the way it was portrayed on screen was very poignant. We lose a beloved character again. That's where it goes.
Now, did you guys? Somebody said in one of the comments of some thread I was reading, I think it was on your post, Brad, or something, that when the Three-Eyed Raven said, "You have to become me," somebody said, "Do you think this is old Bran basically sort of doing what he did with Hodor, sort of like jumping back in time and training himself on how to become who he's going to be?"
Yeah, so I heard something from a book reader. I guess the Three-Eyed Raven is explained in the books, and I don't know if you guys want to be spoiled at all.
I don't care. Yeah, I'm not.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I
Yeah.
mean, there's a close tie between Bran and the Three-Eyed Raven from all the way back to episode 1, I think.
Right.
So that would not surprise me at all. That wouldn't be a shocking moment.
Yeah. The only thing I'll say is that it's a different character. I'm not going to say anything beyond that. But I don't know how the show is really going to explain it at this point. I mean, Max von Sydow is gone, unfortunately. Maybe Bran will give us some bits of knowledge at some point, but
it's Ned's head.
Indeed. Well, we have all been pontificating on Game of Thrones so far, but Will, we haven't heard much from you, so let's shoot it your way. What did you think about what's going on?
Of course, this was a really solid episode. I think for a lot of the reasons that all of you had already outlined. This was such a gut punch. Slightly spoiled for me because the episode was slightly spoiled for me. But
Tell us about that. What happened?
sucks.
Tell us.
So, obviously with, I work in social media, so I can't stay away from Facebook for too long because it's my lifeblood. Sunday is usually my family and friends' day. So a lot of times, about every other episode of Game of Thrones I watch the next morning. Usually not a problem. Most people are pretty respectful and do the whole, this episode was really good, or, oh, I was really sad, whatever. But someone posted a picture of them, and this is specifically a problem with this particular character because, Kristen Nairn is, a member of the bear community, and several people have reached out to him and friended him. But I saw several people, at least 2 people, tag him in a post and say, "Oh no, cry face," and then with that. So it's with that, it's while they didn't specifically say Hodor died.
You're dead.
It's at that point you're there were some. I rolled my eyes hard, but that's just one of those things that happens. It's still an emotional scene. It's still really good and it's really well set up. I differ from you guys a little bit in that I would say Bran is tied for my favorite character on the show.
What? Oh my
yeah.
gosh.
So I really enjoy Bran's stuff, and I think part of it is because of the relationship that he had with Hodor. I thought that the two of them had a really cool, like, not only like the whole, like, you know, I warg into Hodor and he, you know, suddenly snaps to and fights for me. Like, that's a really cool thing to watch on screen. But I just liked that you had a physically strong, mentally weak character, a physically weak, mentally strong character, and the two of them kind of counterbalanced each other. I enjoyed that a lot in the two. And I enjoyed seeing the time travel-y stuff happen with Bran. I'm wondering where it's going to go. It's obviously going to play a big part. Like, there are several key players in this world right now, and Bran is one of them. You know, Bran is going to be an important part of the whole White Walkers, like this threat to the north, which is probably going to be where the series ends, right? Like, you know, we've only got like a season and a half left, and we've got a bunch of people vying for the throne, etc., but we've got all these friggin' zombies coming down. So Bran's going to be an integral player. Hodor's sacrifice sets that up. I loved seeing how we got to see the origin story of Hodor here as it tied to Bran, as it tied to kind of a destiny. I thought it was really cool, and I thought it was indicative of just how strong a season this one has been. Sometimes Game of Thrones historically in previous seasons has been a little bit of a, you know, wait through 45 minutes of just whoever does whatever, you know, and then like the closing sequence is going to be the good part. Right. But there's been some really monumental things happening mid-episode as well. That's something very unique to this season. I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, this is a cool season for me.
So is Jon Snow going to be our King Arthur with Daenerys as his Dragon Queen and Bran as their Merlin?
Oh God!
Well, I mean,
actually, that's good.
That's not too far off. If you really look at all of the key players around the world, there's the Daenerys storyline, there's the Jon and Sansa storyline, which is, I think, more Jon-centric. You've got the Bran storyline, and you've got the Arya storyline, and there's other storylines that kind of connect them. But I think those are probably the four biggies. And of course, 3 of them are Stark related, which makes sense. That's our core family from the intro, the intro of the series, and Daenerys, who has been our other major protagonist. So yeah, I think that those 4 characters are going to be important for the end game of this in some way, shape, or form. I know that's a hot take, saying that Daenerys and Arya and the Stark children are important.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
But oh my God, mind blown.
But we are going to start to see. We saw Jon and Sansa come together. We saw Varys and Tyrion and Daenerys come together. We're starting to see some of these pockets come together, and I think we're going to see more and more of those come together as we approach whatever the end game is. That's exciting. As a TV viewer, that's exciting.
Indeed.
Yeah. Wait, who is your other tied person with Bran as your favorite character right now?
Oh man,
it might be mine actually.
It's Sansa.
Yeah, okay,
Sansa.
we tied then. Okay,
Yeah.
Sansa's my favorite character right now.
Yeah, I think Sansa's
Sorry about
probably slightly above Bran, but I think Bran is up there too. I like all the others, but I feel like this show has been kind of like the Tyrion, Daenerys, Jon Snow show for several seasons. And so I'm loving seeing some of the emerging personalities in Bran and Sansa. That's probably why.
Well, guys, we have some live comments that I want to catch up with real quick. So we heard from Steven from Wichita, Kansas, who says, /waves to podcast. I don't think George R. R. Martin will ever finish the books with like 12 exclamation points.
Yeah, probably
So,
not.
I'm kind of betting you're right. I don't know.
Yeah, I think he's very, very perceptive.
I mean, is the show going to be over before the next book is even out? There's like 2 more books to go, right?
There's a really high probability.
I don't know what the breakdown is of show watchers who've actually read the books, but purely as a show watcher, I guess I don't really care so much, if he ever finishes the books, because I may not ever read them.
It doesn't impact my show, exactly.
Right.
No, I mean,
they're moving on.
Whichever way, when the show was on the books, I was happy. Now that the show's off the books, I'm still happy. So it doesn't really matter much to me.
Right.
Well,
Are any of you book readers?
I'm halfway through book 2. I'm making my way through. I'm a new book reader.
I'm going to be a book reader. I stopped the first book midway through because I was watching the show and I started hearing people rumbling about the new book hasn't come out and I don't know if it's ever going to, kind of that same argument. And I thought, well, you know what? I don't want to set myself up for disappointment. I'm going to watch the series. When the book series is done, then I'll come around to it.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know if I ever will. It's kind of like The Walking Dead. I don't know if I ever need to go read those.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, you do.
I keep hearing that, but it's just like, I don't know. I like the show. I like binging a show.
The other moment, there were a lot of moments in the show. The other moment that really got to me emotionally was the Danny and Jorah.
Yeah. When she was like, "You have been my faithful
You've come back to me twice.
Come back to me once you find the cure."
That sounds like a Katharine Hepburn impersonation.
If Katharine Hepburn was fireproof and had dragons.
She was. Yeah.
Oh, was she? Okay.
No, I don't know. Probably not.
It'll be interesting to see if that's the last time they see each other or not.
Yeah.
I know, with this show, you never know. They don't like having reunions that end well, generally.
It seemed like a farewell, didn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it did.
It did, but it
Which
could
I'm
very
okay
well be.
with.
Yeah. I like both characters. I mean, my favorite character is the Hound. I'm just saying it right now.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I do love the Hound, and that guy's hot too.
We never saw him die. I have a feeling.
No, he will be back.
Oh, we've got another question. Jay from Phoenix, I have a feeling that Benjen Stark or Cold Hands will end up having to save Bran and Mira. I'm also wondering if that whole event messed Bran's mind up a bit. I'd venture to guess that he will be in a coma of sorts for the next few episodes. Thoughts?
Oh no!
Oh wait, was he ever not in a coma?
I know. That's the thing. It's like he's been incapacitated so much, and now we don't have Hodor, and for him to be in a coma for the next few episodes is like, God. I would hate that.
That's what in Hollywood we call a great paycheck.
He's gonna, at the end of Game of Thrones, he's gonna invent the snow globe, right? And that's gonna be the grand finale.
Mm-hmm.
Grand snow globe. Yep.
Oh, where is that? We just got another comment. Where is it? Where did it go?
Where'd it go?
I didn't.
Where is it?
I didn't take it.
In the chat
Oh, there it
bubbles.
is. Okay. Sky from Tucson. Oh, man, John and Dragon Queen would be powerful. Yes, they would, wouldn't they? Well, Brad, you'd mentioned your theory that you think that they are related somehow and that they are like half brother, half sister. So if they come together, that would be like, unstoppable duo.
Works for the Lannisters.
It would be incest,
right.
but nothing. I mean,
Right.
there's nothing new there.
Right, exactly. No, but I like that theory. I'm intrigued by that. Now, if I just cared about John more, I'd be much more excited about that. But I do love Daenerys. But at this point, I think last time we talked about the show, I was saying that I wanted a woman to win the Game of Thrones. It's very much like Survivor, which we're going to talk about. It's like, you bet on certain players.
I don't know that it's literally a game, Casey.
For me, it is. It's
You guys, Daenerys is getting a winner's edit, okay?
Daenerys is really good at the
Kind of
physical
is,
challenges,
right?
but does she have a good social game?
It kind of is. I mean, well, Sansa's getting the underdog edit. Sansa is kind of the Michelle of this this show, I think. So Michelle might win this. Sansa might win this. You never know.
Oh goodness.
We totally should have like a Game of Thrones pool, and just have as the characters get killed off.
Yeah, exactly.
See who has the most characters left at the end of the show.
It's going to be a bloodbath.
That is.
Yeah.
Well, Rob as a podcast has done that a couple times where they've done Game of Thrones, Survivor, and for hypothetical stuff. It's fun. We could do it.
We could.
There's plenty of good options.
I'll just plant that seed and walk away. You guys-
Right. Well, since you are the best at picking players for your
seriously.
teams, your tribes, I think
I don't know about
you might
that.
win that one.
Well,
I don't know about that. I'm good at picking runners up, but
hey, so Jim, I totally just snapped that you're wearing your new shirt. You should show it to us.
I think what does it say? Tyrion's
Lannister
Oh, I like
Estates,
that.
Oh, right on.
Tyrion's Vineyard.
That's cute. I like it.
We got it in some kind of loot crate thing. What is it?
It was my
box?
Geek Fuel box.
Geek box, yeah.
I you know, I've been wondering about signing up for those things.
I drink and I know things. That's what I do.
Indeed. Well, now that we've been talking about it forever, Christian Aaron, we are going to miss you as Hodor. I'm wondering if he's going to show up, guys, as White Walker Hodor.
It's possible.
He actually said that in an interview that I read.
Did he?
No. He just said it more kind of off the cuff, like, like, who knows? With this show, I could come back as a White Walker,
Right.
But it said it as though he didn't know that anything was happening. I hope they don't, but that's just my thought.
It'd be kind of rough.
I just want to leave it the way it is.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
So, Will, why don't you take this last live comment, and then we'll segue to Survivor.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got a question from J. Joel Roth. He asks, why do you guys think that Sansa lied to Jon about meeting Littlefinger? Do you think that she will eventually come around to the idea of the Knights of the Vale helping to take back Winterfell? Man, that's a really good question. That's a really good question. And it's one that I've been thinking about a little bit since the episode aired, and I don't know that I'm 100% if I know why Sansa did that lie. I think part of it is she is extremely distrustful of Littlefinger because of everything that went down between the two of them. So she was able to get the information that she needed from him so that she could make the alliances and move things forward with reclaiming Winterfell, but without actually bridging an alliance with Littlefinger. And I think part of it stems from Sansa still... And this is a trait I like about her. She's still a little petulant in ways. She is a character who has grown quite a bit, but she's still not grown all of the way. What do you guys think? Does anyone have a good read on why she lied? Because I don't have it nailed down.
I think I do. I think, first of all, I think she wants to have Littlefinger around. She realizes that he does wield some influence, obviously, over people. And I think even though she plays... For the last two episodes, she's turned tough for some reason all of a sudden, but I think there's a little bit of her that still kind of falls under his spell just a little bit, and I think she knew that if she ratted out Littlefinger, I think she knows that Jon would probably go right after him or something.
Yeah, probably. So, I think that's probably my same feeling too. Is that as much as she hates what he did, I think deep down she admits probably to herself that he didn't know it was going to be that bad. She probably thought, I don't think he knew it was going to be that bad. I think he knew he was an asshole, but he probably didn't know he was going to beat and cut and rape her. It just like when I love that scene. It's like, what do you think he did to me? And he's like, I don't know. No, let's go into detail.
Do not let off the hook at all.
What do you think the long game is for Littlefinger here? Obviously, he's got something
it's hard to read,
and it's not apparent to me what that is.
Right.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I think part of me thinks that Sansa did not tell Jon about Littlefinger because she likes having something that the others don't have, which is information that she can get that no one else has. Because I think she still detects that Littlefinger is still somewhat attached to her still because of the tie to Catelyn. But I think that's more of Sansa kind of realizing, oh wait, I can have power. I don't have to always, bow to men or have a man make my decisions. I can kind of say, oh, so I got this information from this guy, and then she can use it in an interesting way.
Well, and part of the question for me is, and we do have another live comment, Jim, if you want to take it here in a second. Part of the question for me is, well, what if she is maybe holding them in reserve in case Jon Snow, the bastard, is going to be crowned the King of Winterfell instead of her, and she needs some leverage so that she is in charge of, because she and Jon have never been close.
Right.
Yeah, they had this little moment at the last episode, but I almost wonder if she's hedging her bets a little bit. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. She's betting with the life of her other brother, her real brother. So
Right.
you know, it's a tough game. This Game of Thrones to play.
Yeah.
It's going to come down to the two red women facing off against each other.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
They're gonna have a naked Jello fight, guys.
Yeah, probably.
But it's gonna be after they take their necklaces off.
Oh.
No.
Be a fire making challenge.
Oh my God.
Oh, all right. Jim closes out with our last live comment.
Yeah, so our friend Sam from Wichita, hi Sam, back to our previous conversation, said, could you imagine the emotional moment of, say, having Jon having to kill Hodor? He means that if Hodor were to come back, like as a White Walker or something, I believe. Yeah, and you know that's maybe interesting to think of, but like back to my original thought, I want to keep Hodor. I want to remember Hodor the way he went out, and you know that was a really, you know, punch in the gut, as Will said, moment on the show, and I kind of want to leave it that way. I don't want to have magic and mysticism and shit cloud all that, you know, and that's just the way I'd see it.
Yeah.
It would be rough though, like if we do see White Walker Hodor come back. I think that if they played that right and shot it right, that could still be pretty emotional as well. Like, you know, in the middle of a fight, and we're just like whipping through zombies left and right, and it's no big deal because they're whatever zombies, and then all of a sudden Jon or whoever it is has to stop and just face like this companion of theirs.
Right.
Whether it be Hodor or someone else, I think that's the appeal of having the White Walkers or having the zombies in The Walking Dead, is having someone face off against someone that they once knew and loved. So whether it's Hodor or someone else, I do think that that's a compelling thing to maybe see.
Yeah,
Right.
I agree. Well, guys, believe it or not, we're 45 minutes into the show. We are like way off time. And
Hey, this is a super duper episode. We can do this, guys.
This is Jim's last appearance on MBP.
This is the season. This is our quote unquote season finale with special guests. It's super duper.
It was funny when I was like creating the agenda today. I'm like, I'm putting 20 minutes, but I know like it's gonna be.
Oh God, no. Yeah,
20
right.
minutes. Yeah, I'm like whatever. It's just a placeholder.
Yeah.
But if anyone has a hard stop and has to depart, no worries, no hard feelings when we get to that point. But how do we feel about moving on to Survivor? We good?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Who was that? Who was that apprehensive?
It was Will. All right. Here we go then. Our discussion of Survivor. And I'm going to focus the camera on Will for a second because he's wearing his exclusive Survivor Panama Exile Island trademark buff.
Oh, I have my buff. I didn't wear it.
You totally should.
You're
I
not
know.
a super fan.
I have my Cambodia buff over there. Should I go get it?
You should go get it, Casey.
All right, I'll be right back.
Time.
All right, hold the camera so we can see your butt while you walk away.
Hey now, buffs and butts. Perfect episode.
You know, it's funny. It's almost like Casey Scott is like the Will Lindis of MBP TV. You guys are like dark mirrors of each other.
Ooh.
The doppelgangers from The Flash. The alternate Earth.
All right, let's check out Casey Scott's. Nice.
There we go.
I love it.
All right.
Awesome.
All about the Cambodia, but I do like Panama too.
Yeah, this is my favorite tribe.
So when are we all going to submit our audition tapes for Survivor? And see if
I
we-
keep telling Will he needs to do it.
Survivors, Bears versus Twinks.
I think we would win that one.
I don't know.
Sorry, Twinks. I think we would win, but
Oh, goodness. All right. Well, Casey, why don't you kick things off a little bit? We don't have to go crazy on our Survivor discussion, but how are you feeling about how things wrapped up?
Well, first of all, I just want to say, so I have been going back to listen to episodes from like last year just to, you know, because I'm narcissistic like that night. Well, actually, it's because if it's an off week for us, I like listening to us talk because I miss you guys. So I'm like, oh, what did we talk about back in May? And so I remember that you and Brad, you and Steven were talking about Survivor, the finale of One World with Mike Holloway, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah. A year later, I am like obsessed with the show.
Yeah.
It's just like I don't know how I became the obsessed one out of the three of us who like binge watching every season and everything. And I've had Will to hold my hand through a lot of it because anytime I'm watching a season, I'm like, "Can you believe this? Oh my God, this is horrible!"
I feel like I've been your enabler.
No, yeah, you totally are. You totally are. You're like, "Oh, wait till you get to this part." Yeah. Oh my God, it's great. Yeah. No, it's been fun. It's been a fun journey. And now that it's off season, I have a few other seasons to catch up on. Well, so Will and I were live chatting during the finale, so we have talked about this a lot. Like Will and I do this a lot. Like we're like Survivor brothers at this point. Yeah, Survivor brothers. And I will not lie and say that I was not 100% on board with who won. And I just kept thinking Steven a couple weeks ago was like, there's this girl, I don't even know what like her name is, who's left. And all of a sudden she's waltzing away with $1 million. And, you know, over the 24 hours after Michelle winning Survivor, spoiler alert, I became a little more okay with it because I was kind of able to go over what the jurors were thinking, over what her quote-unquote strategy was, whether you believe it was a strategy or not, or what her game was more specifically, because I think she did have a game. My vote, if I was on the jury, would have gone to Aubrey. Definitely not Ty, who is dead to me. Ty, dead to me, been dead to me for weeks.
Since the fire!
Yes, exactly. Since the fire, I was like, it's over. It's over. And then actually, he turned against Michelle during a tribal council. And I was like, come on, dude. Like, he's like, I don't know how you got in this alliance. Oh, you mean the alliance that she was in from the beginning and that you just joined?
Right.
Dipshit. So, it was a heated finale for me. I loved the fire-making challenge between Aubrey and Sydney. Even though it was kind of obvious that Sydney was not going to get anywhere. The editing was really strong, and it was great to see Aubrey come out on top. And I thought for sure that would be something great in her resume. That would like be the cap on her resume. Like, I just made fire and beat this super strong competitor. And it didn't happen that way. And so there have been fans who have compared this to like the Russell Hantz versus Natalie White, where Natalie White won and Russell arguably played a stronger game. I don't know if that's true or not. It's a very divisive finale among fans, and I cannot wait to hear what you all think. And I will shut up now because I really want to hear what you all have to say.
So Will, as sort of our Casey Scott counterpart from the Movie Verse podcast, you guys are even both wearing buffs that are like opposite colors almost. So, Will, you had kind of been like crowing about this whole Winner's Edit Michelle thing for a while now. I'm guessing you're feeling pretty felt up, or I mean felt out at this point.
pretty felt up.
Both. You have no idea what's happening under this desk. No, this was an amazing finale for me, mainly because by the time we got to this finale, I had invested a lot of like I had staked a lot of claim on who I thought the winner was going to be, and it was a winner pick that I don't think was picked by as many people, and so I was like, man, I can very easily eat some crow on this one. Unfortunately, I didn't, and it all came down to, for me, very early on, at the very beginning of the season, episode 1, episode 2. I saw the beauty girls, those 3 girls, and I saw a very strong storyline for them. So I immediately was like, it's got to be Anna, right? It's got to be Anna. But as soon as Anna goes out in, she went out around day 13, I'm like, well, that throws that off. So Michelle, it's got to be Michelle because Julia is too young. And I kept seeing all through the season these scenes where like they didn't have to show Michelle talking about her strategy, and they did. They would just cut to her really quick saying, oh yeah, well I think this is happening. The problem with Michelle is that she's just not good television. So like she actually had more confessionals this season than Jeremy had last season. It's just she's not a good confessional giver, so they go right in one ear and out the other, right? So I'd all season long I would message Casey and I'd be like, yeah, I think Michelle's like I'm 75% Michelle, 25% Aubrey. I would give little
like, oh God, no.
every week. And then we sit down for the finale and like, God, I'm gonna look like such an asshole if I'm wrong. And then Michelle wins a bunch of great challenges there at the end. And I think what works so well for me about Michelle as a winner is I think it's very easy for us to watch Aubrey's game, and I think if the vote were cast from the couch, Aubrey played the stronger game. But the vote isn't cast from the couch. It's cast from inside the game. They're seeing 72 hours for every 1 hour we're seeing, so we don't see what's happening when Michelle is just sitting around shooting the shit with people and Aubrey's off, trying to think about the next move. Those moments of just being a friendly person with people, which don't make good television, are what earns you a vote at the very end of the game. So it doesn't make for like the most exciting win ever. It's not like a crazy touchdown. It's not one of those big move wins. But Aubrey didn't do a good job of convincing the other jurors that her moves were worth $1 million. Michelle did, so Michelle earned that win. And I think what Aubrey did win is she's pretty much a locked, she, Ty, and Caleb are all locks to return at some point, right? Like,
Probably
I think
Sydney
there's...
too, I think.
And probably Sydney too. There's Survivor is the game, and there's also Survivor is the meta game. And I think Aubrey definitely wins the meta game, in that she's definitely going to get invited back. Michelle, I loved her as a winner. I loved her as a player. I loved what she did, but she's not great television. She's not going to come back again,
Right.
So, fun season for me. I really loved a lot of the characters here. I think it was a slam dunk from a casting perspective. I love that we had an untraditional winner as opposed to the person that just kind of slam dunked their way all the way through. Cool season for me. I loved it.
All right. Well, Steven, how about you?
I did not like it. I was so angry that she won because I felt like it did sort of come from this emotional place and not a like who really kind of proved themselves in all the game. Because I agree with you, Will, that we don't see a lot of what's happening around camp, so there probably might have been a lot of stuff that Michelle was doing that was endearing herself to people. She's a bartender by trade. She probably is very good conversationalist and knows how to adapt herself to different conversations. I'm sure that all happened, but like you said, we didn't see it. So from a couch perspective, it made me angry. I wanted Aubrey to win. I felt like she played the hardest. I just identified with her. I felt this nerdy kinship with her, and seeing her overcome obstacles, physical obstacles, social obstacles, anxiety obstacles. There were so many things that she overcame. I just felt like she deserved it. And I don't feel like she really backstabbed anyone. So the weird cartoon hate that they had for her, during the final tribal just didn't make sense to me. And not everyone had some, but there were some people that had some. I agreed, Ty, he went south pretty quickly. I mean, he's still a good person. I think I like him as a person, but number one, during the sort of post-episode thing, Jeff really needed to step in and shut him the hell up. Like, whenever he would ask him a question, it's like, oh my God, shut him up, shut him up, shut him up. That whole thing, stupid, weird. Yeah. I don't really get that, and they shouldn't have done it. But it was live TV. What are you gonna do?
Yeah, I don't think they had a choice. I think she hijacked the show.
Exactly.
That's what sucked about it.
$100,000.
Yeah. But but from a just watching it, my perspective as a fan of this season, I really liked this season. I thought it was a good overall. But I am serious. Like, my husband and I were sitting on the couch, and it was down to like the final 5, and we're like, what's that girl's name? Like, we seriously, like, she had so little screen time, she had so little strategy, and maybe she was strategizing, we just didn't see it. And there were little bits. I will say, the last couple episodes, when she was winning challenges, if she had a confessional that said, I intentionally saved this for the end, and I really wanted to punch it through at the end, and I intentionally wasn't winning to make them think I was weak, but now I'm showing you what I've got, I would have had a little bit more respect for her.
Yeah.
I think she did amazing in those final challenges. She was killing it, and it definitely raised her, my opinion of her, but at the same time, I feel like it was kind of, not dumb luck, but like, she wasn't winning challenges before because there were stronger competitors, and they got rid of the stronger competitors, and I don't know. I just
came out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So I don't know. I just didn't feel like she deserved it. I don't know if there is a deserving, because obviously she deserved it because she won people's minds over, and she got the votes for her. So in a way, she deserved it. But I agree, she wouldn't have gotten my vote. I would have voted Aubrey 100%.
Well, it's funny that you mentioned, like, who was this person again, because when we were all in Palm Springs a couple weekends ago having breakfast at Cheeky's, we're like all trying to remember her name. Like, we're like, wait, what was her name again?
Purple Michelle.
Yeah.
When I'm in the corner with a tin full of hat going, Michelle.
Yeah, exactly. Willing her to win.
Yeah, crazy. Well, Jim, how about you? How'd things shake out for you?
I loved the season overall. I wasn't really pleased with the winner. You know, when we do our draw thing at the beginning of the season, I tend to be drawn toward people that I kind of like, that I think I could connect with maybe in real life or whatever. And that plus, I think they can kind of play the game. Okay. So Sydney, you know, Ty, they were kind of my horses at the end. Ty, you know, like you said, Steven, he's a really good person. Two things killed him. He made some moves that I thought were awesome moves for TV, you know what I mean, and those tribal councils, but ultimately they backfired on him. I thought that might have been able to go either way if he had played it right. You know, with Scott and the other dude, Jason, is that his name?
Yeah. And speaking of which, at Tribal, when he kept on bringing the whole Scott thing up, it's like, shut up, Ty, shut up.
Well, that's because that's the one move that he could really kind of throw up in the air.
Yeah, and I think the other thing, and I was just going to say that, I think he suffered a lot in terms of being able to. I think the guy is articulate. I just don't think I don't know if it's nerves or what it is, that he just starts to stumble over his words, and he did that at Tribal, the final Tribal. He did that on the finale show, and it was kind of sad to watch because I think he's got a lot to offer, and he just couldn't express himself in those moments, and I think that hurt his game also. But yeah, I mean, I thought it could have gone either way between Michelle and Audrey. Michelle just, man, she really turned it on there at the end, and winning those last two immunity challenges, or whatever they were. One of them was an immunity challenge. The other one was a challenge to get rid of a jury member, which in the end I don't think really meant anything. No. I don't think it swayed the decision. The final decision. But it was a cool twist. It's like, oh my God, they've never done this before. My mind is blown.
That was pretty. I forgot about that. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. And at the time, I thought, man, this jury's got to be close between these two. You know what I mean? And this could really be a game changer. But in the end, when they tallied up all the votes, it really didn't matter all that much.
Yeah. It might have influenced things a little bit if, like you said, when they turn it on there at the end, it, like, impresses people. So maybe as much, like, getting rid of the person didn't really impact things as much as just, like, oh, it's another thing to add to her resume. She was the one that did it.
Yeah, right.
So maybe that helped a little. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I thought it was interesting because Aubrey kept mentioning, like, like it's a very much of an end run thing, and I think a lot of the jurors that voted for her even mentioned that like she came alive at the end, and it was like, and even Aubrey brought it up. It was like, so did you know that this was happening at the vote? And it's like, well, no, because she was never in all the major vote outs that happened. She had no clue they were happening, so it was just like, I wasn't part of it. Okay, well, I kind of mastered the whole thing. So,
and it's at the end. The end, Michelle had more to stand on in terms of recent accomplishments that are fresh in everybody's mind. Like, wow, she's a player. She won these challenges. She survived up to day 39. Let's give it to her. And good on her, I say. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the season overall. I thought it was great.
Well, and that's the thing about Survivor sometimes you're only as, like, good as your most recent move, right? Especially if you're on the jury and you've been there for a while. I mean, you're eating steak at the Ponderosa or whatever. Like,
Right.
you know, your life is very different from what's going on in camp. So, you know, a big move that was made on day 19 may not be as respectable as like chaining 3 immunity wins together. You know what I mean? Starting at day 28, even though it's like only an 8-day difference, it's more recent. Right, so that can have a big impact. I definitely wanted Aubrey to win, especially since she was my pick in the draft. But when Michelle started winning those challenges, man, I mean, we were talking about it at breakfast, and I was like, guys, I have a bad feeling. Like, she had just won the immunity challenge. I'm like, I have a bad feeling about this, and unfortunately, it went that way. Definitely respect her game. Definitely respect, you know, all the gas pedal pushing she did there at the end to get there. So I don't begrudge her for winning, but I guess for me it feels like kind of a boring win in a way.
Yeah, I feel that's the exact way I feel. It's like she earned it in her own way, but it's not. It doesn't make me feel good.
Remember though, if she hadn't have won one of those, you know, those challenges at the end, she'd have been gone. Yeah. I mean, there's almost no doubt in my mind. Now, granted, things can happen after the challenge. I understand, but I think, I mean, they were lining up to take her out, and she would have been out of there, and then it probably would have come down to Audrey and Sid, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but, I'm not saying what she did was boring. I'm just saying it's kind of a lackluster finish for me that she won. It was exciting to see her in the challenges and pulling those out, and you know, kind of pulling herself out of the fire that way. But at the end of the season for me, it was just kind of a meh. Where the winner is concerned.
I think it's very fair to say that she's a boring winner, and I think that's why. Like, I mean, if you look at the number of times we heard her talk, like in confessionals, the only 2 people with more confessionals than her all season were Ty and Aubrey. She had 20 more confessionals this season than Sydney. The difference is Sydney's confessionals were just like, she's a really engaging person. Yeah. So we had a lot of visibility from Michelle all through the season. She was telling us, this is why I'm doing this thing. This is why I'm doing this thing. But it was very easy to like overlook her and forget her because it was she comes across like just kind of like another one of the, you know, not so bright beauty girls that sometimes gets put on these.
Right.
I know that sometimes the jury is watching this whole season kind of similar to the way we are. They get bored at Ponderosa. They're sitting there watching. They're wanting something to happen. And so a lot of these juries will like look for an underdog and kind of root for the underdog to pull through. Right. And that's why you can get someone kind of turning on the gas here at the very end, and like Michelle. And as long as they can get to the end and defend somewhat, you know, then the underdog has a really good shot. And I think that is what Michelle was able to pull off. Like, she got to the point where she could put on the afterburners.
Right.
The only thing
she kind of reminds me of Sepia in that way. She's another boring winner who kind of came out from under in Marquesas, and
The only thing I didn't understand was when they were making fire, her, Aubrey and Sid. It seemed like they kept on cutting to the jury, and the jury was all like rooting for Aubrey, and so it just didn't make sense to me that then they were like, why would you want her in the final 3 if you're not going to vote for her anyway?
I think they wanted Aubrey over Sid because Sydney had pissed a lot of them off.
They were rooting against Sydney, basically.
Right. They weren't rooting for Aubrey. They were rooting against Sydney, I think. Right. So just to qualify, I mean, it was kind of a boring finish, but you know, a lot of people, it's funny when I reveal to them that I enjoy watching Survivor, they're like, that show is still on? People still watch that show? So I want to clarify and say, I fucking love Survivor, and I think it's really getting better. It's been phenomenal the last few seasons. So, you know, I think more people should be watching it, even though it wasn't the winner I wanted. It was still a great season to watch.
The show has evolved a lot in 32, 33 seasons. Yeah. From more of a, you know, physical environmental Survivor show to more of a game. And you know, maybe that's turned some people off. Maybe some people like that, you know, gross, eating bugs and rats kind of stuff too.
I miss that actually.
But yeah, I don't know. I like the show then. I like it now. Either way,
I just think it's kind of crazy that in 33 seasons they still have never managed to slam dunk a reunion. I don't understand that.
Yeah.
They still can get an A+ reunion special.
They're getting worse. Actually.
They are getting worse.
It seems like it.
Last season wasn't too bad. Cambodia wasn't terrible because they had a lot of interesting characters to talk to. But I mean, they didn't even talk to Sydney, one of the top 4 people at this reunion.
I'm sure that's Sia's fault.
They talked to her mom. They talked to her mom.
Right.
Yeah.
And Drew Carey. I blame Drew Carey too.
Yeah.
And both of them. We don't need a Price is Right plug.
So last live comment here, Steven from Wichita said he loved the voting out of a juror, Neil, the ice cream man.
Yeah.
He said his response was epic. Just goes to show you, not all ice cream guys are nice guys.
Not a good moment.
He was a dick going
Not a good moment for him.
No.
Yeah.
He was not. Would you say he was a not nice cream guy?
Oh.
He's been angling on social media for like I really want to come back and play again. I want to play again because I got pulled because of the infection, so I should get a chance to play again.
Right.
Well, when he did that, it's pretty much he pretty much like torched any chance of getting voted.
Yeah.
Right.
Like no one wants to see Neil again.
Good luck, buddy. Go back to your ice cream truck. Get the truck out of here.
That's a good one too. Well, it's interesting because I got into actually a rather heated discussion with someone who was like, they thought that Michelle earned her win because she won all of these immunities. It's like, if you want to win, you need to win some immunities. And I was like, Earl never won an immunity. Yule never won an immunity. Tony never won an immunity. So it's not about immunities. Like, it's not about that great. I think it's good on a resume. The immunities are there to further you in the game. They're not there necessarily as trophies. They're there to make sure you keep surviving. You have to argue your way to the $1 million at Final Tribal Council.
Right.
Everyone has to play the best version of their game, whatever that happens to be. If you were a guy like a Joe or a Mike Hollowell or an Ozzy or something like that, the best version of your game is to have a terrible social game and win a bunch of challenges.
Exactly.
If you're the type of person who is like a Michelle or like a Vesepia or like a Jenna, your job is to make friends with people and win a couple of key challenges, but just be the most friendly person. Or you can be a strategist like a Sophie Clark. Whatever your move is, you just have to be the best version of who you are. Have a little bit of luck pulled in there. Not a single Survivor winner has won without getting lucky along the line.
Right.
And just kind of combining those best core elements. Like, if I were to win Survivor, or if Brad or Kate, any of us here were to win Survivor, we would all have different paths because we're all different people with different strengths.
Right.
And we would have to play the best version of our own games.
Right.
My strategy would totally. I mean, it would not be winning immunity. It would be winning community.
Yes.
I'm never going to win an immunity challenge.
I just want to get on there, build a fire. That's what I.
There you go.
That's all you gotta know, because as long as you get to top 4 and there's a tie and you have to make a fire, you're golden.
No ties on the return season.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want tie on a return season.
Me neither.
Oh, but we do want Mark the Chicken, who's actually probably dead by now.
Yeah.
That family probably ate him, yeah.
We've been loving Mark the Chicken this whole time, and he's been dead for like a year and a half at this point.
R.I.P. Mark the Chicken.
Yes.
Yeah, way to end things on a down note, Brad.
He's back with the Earth now.
All right, guys.
It was a good season, though, overall, I would have to say. I just think it kind of petered out near the end. I didn't love the finale. I gave it like an 8. But
yeah. Still
it was
going
not
strong.
Cambodia. That's for sure. But yeah, what is Cambodia? I mean, come on. That's up there with like Heroes versus Villains is one of the best seasons in the entire series. So.
Yeah, indeed. All right, well, guys, should we talk about Preacher for a few minutes before we wrap things up here? Are we down?
Sure.
Why not?
All right. Sounds like a plan. Then here we go. A very brief discussion of Preacher. All right, so this is a new show from AMC, network of hit shows like The Walking Dead and Fear the Walking Dead and
Breaking Bad.
Breaking
And
Bad.
Mad Men.
Mad Men. So some
All these
some
dead
big-
shows.
some big ambitious shows on this network. Preacher is the newest in the line. For those of you who are not familiar, this is based on a comic book. Basic plot of the story: bad boy Jesse something or other
Custer.
returns to town. Custer, thank you. And he's a preacher. His flock isn't really attentive to him. He's not doing great. He gets inhabited by some kind of supernatural alien force or something. I don't know. Now all of a sudden, like, people do what he tells them to do, even indirectly, like killing themselves because he's told them to. So he has a power. He has a badass ex-girlfriend. There's some kind of Irish vampire guy thing going on. I don't know what the fuck this show is, but what do you guys think about it?
I'll go first. It's too early. This show, the first pilot episode was a lot of whiz bang and a lot of mystery. The first show kind of reminded me of the first season of Lost. It was they're setting up a lot of mystery in the writing of the show and little, focusing on a couple of certain characters with other characters. You're not quite knowing what their motivations are. And Brad, you said a lot when this thing was based on a comic book or a graphic novel. I can kind of see that with kind of the supernatural or superpowers thing starting to grow and build. I'm going to give the show, I usually give a show like 3 episodes at least before I would give up on it, unless it's pathetically terrible. And this is not that. I think the production values here are great. I love some of the photography that they're doing in this show. I think everything looks great. There's some gee whiz moments in it, but I haven't really connected yet to the show. I'll give it the 3 episodes and we'll see what happens. But I don't know. I want to hear what you guys have to say too.
I agree that I think it's very Lost-esque that there were so many what was that thing in Africa, and who are these 2 people that are sort of Men in Blackish, hunting down this thing, and why does this happen? What is he hearing? What's the power? There's just lots of questions that the pilot asked, but at the same time, I thought it was well acted, well directed, well shot. This one was directed by Seth Rogen and his partner
Kevin Goldberg.
Yeah, Kevin Goldberg and
Evan Goldberg. Yeah.
Evan, yeah, and I thought they did a good job, and it definitely was intriguing. I've heard about this property forever. Back when I was doing Totally Rad Show, the guys would always talk about it. Like Dan Trachtenberg was always saying he wanted to direct Preacher for the longest time. So it was. I'd never had read it, but they were always talking about how they love this property, that it's such an amazing story and everything. So I think it probably has a lot of wealth of good material that they can pull from. It's just, will they pull it off?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I thought I really liked it. I remember seeing a sneak peek of it during, I think it was Fear the Walking Dead. Which, yeah, that's the last time I'll ever mention that show again. And it was the fight sequence in the car. Yeah. And I said, oh my God, this is like if Tarantino was still good and was making, it was like Kill Bill or something on television, and this ripping an ear off and swerving through cornfields. I thought it was really exciting and great. And I think I think it was an hour and a half premiere, but when I watched it online, it was 65 minutes. There's a lot of action in it. A lot of interesting set pieces, well choreographed. A lot of moist gore, which I can always appreciate if it's not CGI, and this was not CGI. Yeah, I liked it enough, and I like Dominic. Is it Dominic Cooper?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's hot, so I will. And I like him better in this than I liked him in Agent Carter. And I guess he plays that character in the Iron Man movies. I don't know. I don't watch those, but
It's funny, they're pulling from a lot of Marvel people. The woman who played Tulip is from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Right.
Really? Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I liked it enough. I thought it was definitely intriguing enough to make me keep watching. I want to know what the hell is going on. I'm like you, Brad. I'm kind of like, I don't know what this is, but yeah, I'm definitely intrigued enough to keep watching. I will give it the patented Brad Harris 5 episodes to grit me and get its claws into me. And if it doesn't, then I'll give up. But you know.
Yeah. I'm going to keep watching it too, I guess. Although for me, I mean, the most interesting thing about this episode wasn't the alien force that blew up Tom Cruise or
Right.
the badass ex-girlfriend. It was the fact that apparently AMC, they adore their like let's sensationalize smoking shows.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many other ways they could like artfully like show this guy smoking a cigarette to like make smoking look cool. Yeah, we had it like
as well as demonstrating right now.
we had it like drooping between his lips when he's scared. I mean, his fucking cigarette was more emotive than like he was in some ways. So I think it's kind of interesting. I mean, they for some reason I don't know if like CEO of AMC is like a fetish smoker or something. I don't know, but
And not only that,
Morris.
not only that, but we got the Seth Rogen trademark pot reference in there.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and that was the other thing I was going to say, Jim, so good segue there. We were just talking on the Movie Rest podcast earlier this week because we reviewed Neighbors 2, but of course everything Seth Rogen has to have some kind of fucking like weed tie-in. And of course, Irish Vampire on an airplane. What's going on? They're all smoking weed!
Right.
You know, so... Anyway, I'll keep watching. I'll check it out. But this isn't.
I honestly
like
didn't know that he was a vampire. I thought he was like a Satan or something like that.
Well, no, because at one point he like bites the guy like in the neck and.
Yeah,
like,
but I thought he was just trying to kill him by biting his neck.
He's not drinking blood.
Oh, okay. Well, maybe he's not a vampire then. I don't know.
I thought maybe you guys knew he was a vampire.
Although
No, I mean he bit him in the. When I see someone bite someone on the neck, I just assume. Plus, he jumped out of a plane and then was like a puddle of intestines and shit.
Yeah.
And then like later he shows up like and he's fine.
Right.
So
Well, that's why I thought he was like a demon, and I'm thinking preacher, Satan sort of thing.
Well, that could be. You may be right.
I know there's an answer to this question. I'm sure it'll come up pretty soon. I haven't watched the premiere yet. I've read the first. I haven't read all the way through the series, but I've read quite a few, and my goal is to watch it pretty soon. But I think you're talking about the character Cassidy?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay. He's one of those two things. I won't spoil it, because I guess if it's not very clear, maybe they'll make it a better point pretty soon. So.
Okay, maybe. We'll just have to see. You're probably right, Steven. I mean, that would probably make more sense, actually. But
he only ate slightly more beef than Joe did on Survivor.
but
But didn't have as many intestinal problems.
Well, it looked like he was, but yeah.
All right. Well, guys, let's do this. Let's go ahead and close out with the briefest of brief plugs. Casey, what do you got this week?
What am I plugging? Oh my God, I wasn't even thinking about it. Not this kind of plug, anyway. Let me think. What am I plugging? Bloodline is coming back on Netflix, and I don't know if y'all watched that first season. It was kind of like a Southern Gothic family drama with Sissy Spacek and Kyle, what's his face in Friday Night Lights?
Chandler.
Kyle Chandler, yes. And Linda Cardellini from Freaks and Geeks. It's in Ben Mendelsohn. It's a really great, interesting family melodrama that involves murder and backstabbing, and it's very good. And the second season should be interesting because the death of a major character, I don't know how that's going to work in the second season. So I'm really intrigued to see how it works out. So
awesome.
That is starting on Friday. So I know what I'm binging this weekend.
There you go. All right, excellent. Steven, what do you got?
I honestly, I can't. I was thinking while he's talking, I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to plug? Because it's like, I honestly, like, we're in this sort of lull where I'm watching a bunch of shows, but I'm not loving stuff. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just finished, and that was kind of like, eh. I mean, it was good. I mean, the show is consistently good lately, but and I love how they're doing these major arcs and everything, but it's just sort of, it's not great. Flash has been good this season. Finale is tonight.
It's airing right now. Oh my god.
Which I'm hoping we get to find out who the guy in the mask is.
Please.
Yeah, which I have some theories, but I'm not going to go into that. But I don't love that show as much as you guys do. I think it's definitely gotten better and it's good. It's better than Arrow, that's for sure. I can't believe I still watch Arrow. I don't know what is wrong with me. It's such a terrible show lately, but I keep watching it.
I told you last time, if the finale does not steer it back into the right direction, you need to cut the cord.
I do.
You need to sever the limb.
Yeah.
Before it festers.
I'm trying to think of like all the other stuff I'm watching, but I can't. There's nothing like that's standing out in my mind now of like, oh my god, people have to see this. So go watch The Flash.
All right, sounds good. Jim, anything for you?
Just going to talk about a trailer. Quickly mention a trailer that I saw today. The new Disney Pixar Finding Dory trailer is out today.
Ooh.
So check out Finding Dory. Rumor has it, if you watch closely, we might be seeing Pixar's first gay couple in the movie. Yeah.
Wow.
And they're not fish. Just saying.
Oh. I was going to say gay fish.
No. It's rumored. It's not clear. It's not clear in the trailer, but the trailer looks great. This movie's going to make us cry.
Yeah.
So
Guaranteed.
Can't wait to see it. All right, we'll check it out. Will, read your comment that you just put in chat because it's funny, and then give us any plug.
Arrow, you have failed this, Steven. I've actually... I stopped watching it about a season ago too, for probably similar reasons. It's actually funny. I've dropped down to only a few shows that I'm watching these days. I'm watching a lot of movies for obvious reasons. So between Survivor, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and Game of Thrones, like those are kind of the biggies that aren't, like a Netflix series. I don't know if you guys have plugged it yet or not. The second season of Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt 2 came out, was it maybe a month ago? And so I finished that pretty recently, and it was top-notch, really good. So I would strongly recommend that if you haven't done it yet.
Oh, I forgot. Veep. Amazing.
Oh, you're liking it.
And there was one of the funniest lines in TV I have ever heard in that, where one of the guys says, they were talking about the Ice Bucket Challenge, and he says, I don't know, it brought a lot of awareness to whatever ALS is. And I thought that was so brilliant.
Story checks out.
Oh, that's great.
Oh my god.
That's awesome. All right, well, I'll go ahead and close this out. A lot of friends have been telling me the last couple of years that I need to check out Steven Universe. These are the same friends who told me to watch Adventure Time, and I tried Adventure Time like 5 times and just could not get into it. So I'm like, whatever, I don't trust your opinion. Recently, I saw it pop up on Hulu, and I'm like, I'll check it out. And I'll tell you what, that was a week ago, and I'm 33 11.5-minute episodes in at this point. Totally loving this series. I have never watched a cartoon before that like makes me laugh till my sides hurt and like bawl out my eyes at the same time from like emotional depth.
Wow.
It's so amazing. I can't even put it into words. We could probably talk. You are nodding a lot, Will. Maybe we could have like a whole episode talking about it, I'm sure. But just unexpectedly very, very awesome. So if you're looking for kind of a modern cartoon that's great for kids but also has some really good like emotional stuff for adults too, I'm getting some like Inside Out vibes from some of these characters too, the Crystal Gems. So I don't know. I like it a lot. Will, this looks like something you enjoy as well. Is that right?
I don't know why I didn't mention it before. Favorite show on television is a kid's cartoon.
I think you plugged it once on MBP.
I think I did, and I feel like I shared like, guys, I'm watching Steven Universe. It's like a 15-minute cartoon. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Brad. Like it starts off kind of light, just kind of like light, fun show, and as you start to dive into the lore and the relationships between these characters, it becomes one of the most interesting long-form stories out there, and it's a kid's cartoon told in 11-minute episodes. Totally co-sign.
Yeah, it's really great. That's really awesome. I
And
should
it's
have
on- how many seasons are on Hulu? Is it just how many seasons are on?
They've
right
got 52 episodes, but I think there's like
Okay.
84 11-minute episodes out, so
Okay.
it doesn't have all of them yet.
That's a pretty decent binge. Yeah, that's good.
Hulu has a bunch. You can also get them on Amazon VOD. I just went and bought the first 2 seasons because
Okay.
I rewatched them.
That's fine. That's fine. I'm gonna rewatch them, I'm sure.
Okay.
So anyway, well, guys, this was an awesome episode. It was so cool having like all of the Movie Bears podcast / MBP TV
Family.
people. This is our podcast family, guys. We're like our own superhero
We're
team.
not a podcast. We're a family.
And you and Brad are the mom and dad.
Oh. No, the dad and the dad. We're okay with that.
The dad and the dad.
Could have two
Yeah,
dads.
dad.
We could have 2 dads.
It was a TV show,
Whoa.
My Two Dads.
Haven't you ever watched Modern Family? Haven't you ever watched
Yeah.
I'll gladly
Does-
take 2 daddies.
Does
Oh
dad and
my
daddy work?
gosh,
Does that
me
work
too.
better?
This is adult weekend? What? Anyway, thank you so much for those of you who hung out with us this week. We appreciate your live comments. It was cool having you guys chat in and being able to respond to your thoughts. For those of you listening on digital tape delay, we'd still love to hear your thoughts. Send us a comment on Facebook or tweet us at MB Podcast. You can find this episode and all of our past episodes at MovieBearsPodcast.com, on iTunes and Stitcher Radio, and we'll be back in a couple of weeks. Guys, Orange is the New Black is coming back soon.
Oh my God! Yes. See, there's good summer stuff for us to talk about. I have a few suggestions for summer vacation podcasts. Actually, I'll have to throw your way.
I would love that. And guys, Marco Polo is coming back in July, so you have time to watch the first season if you haven't seen it already.
I would do that.
I'll have to catch up.
Phenomenal, so good. Anyway, plugs are over, Brad. We're in the goodbye section. So, all right, take it easy, everyone. We'll see you later. Goodbye.
Bye, guys.
Bye,
Enjoy
guys.
TV.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have you anytime.